it's the very last U.S. tour date.
It is.
How did the tour go for you?
It was amazing. So good. It really has flown by. Like, I went and looked back at the dates yesterday, and there's a lot of them, and it feels like it's only been like a week.
Yeah.
You know, it's crazy good, crazy good. And there's some special moments on stage where you see so many people singing along, so far from home, you know. Really cool. Plus the new stuff is so fun to play.
Yeah.
It's nice to have some variation from the same stuff we've been playing for the last couple of years. Like adding more in there makes the show just like more dynamic and awesome. So it's been great.
Okay, so Siberia's been out for a month.
Yes.
Has the reviews from your fans been what you were expecting with the new album?
It actually wasn't. I mean, I was expecting a bit more adversity on it because it is different. And I mean, I've never released a second album before. You're only gonna do it once. And I thought it was really important that I made the record I wanted to make and changed a little bit because I've changed, you know? And not try to make the same record over again. It is tricky to allow yourself to do that as an artist, but I think it's important to establish that you're gonna be on the cusp of your craft every time you give something to your fans, you know? And that being said, with a little different direction on this record, I was prepared for some adversity from especially the core fans, but it just, people caught on so fast and were totally down with the evolution and are like into these songs live seems more than previous. You know, it's really cool. It's really cool.
Okay, so how was the writing process for Siberia different than the listening?
A lot of it was the same. I mean, you sit down with Togs or Dave or whoever I'm co-writing with and co-producing with, and come up with some cool tracks, and then go home that night and write the lyrics, which is a typical process for me. But the difference on this record was having Holy Fuck in the picture, and basically we created electro music in a way that I've never seen it created before. I went to their house, it was like the winter, I went to Brian's house, we were in his dining room, all their keyboards and toys were on the table, and we just started to jam. And for starters, that's different for electronic, all entirely electronic elements, and we're jamming, it's all being recorded live. And out of that jam session came the bed tracks that we patched together for Everybody Breaks the Glass and the song Siberia. And then the last 9 minutes of our first jam session was day one at the end of the record. So it's interesting, day one's special because it's completely live, invented as you're hearing it, which is kind of the antithesis of electro. It's like the underbelly of electro, right? You hear things are really raw and you can't go back and perfect them, where electro is usually very structured and built and you go back in and change it, they're all MIDI files. Whereas this is just like one big fat chunky file and you have to like work around it. So it brought a degree of life to the new record and the new songs that maybe wasn't present before. It was cool.
So were there any particular songs on Siberia that you found hard to write, whether it was with lyrics or the melodies? Were there any on there that you found kind of difficult to pull together and get it the way you wanted to?
Everything just kind of, I mean, there's obviously a couple that you know are worth something and you go back and fix. Like with a song like Heavy Rope, that and a song like Peace Sign were written a while ago actually, but the original recording was different and was overlooked by some people that heard it initially. You know, everyone on my team gets to say, because we've all been working together for so long, where it's like, oh, do you like the song? This song's cool, this song, I'm not feeling it so much. A song like Heavy Rope, which was originally called Precipice, it was recorded completely differently. It was so vulnerable when I wrote the lyrics, and it was really honest in what I was going through at the time, but the production didn't quite match it, the way it sounded. So it kind of got lost in the shuffle for a little bit, but Togs and I, we wrote it, and we just kind of like, we're like, there's something really special about this, we gotta go back and redo this, because we know this is a good song, because you have that gut feeling, that's all music is. The only indicator of any kind of direction is your gut. So we went and re-recorded it, and it becomes like one of my favorite songs on the record, you know? A song like Siberia, we jammed with the Holy Fuck guys and came up with the bed tracks and patched it together, and I wrote this entire set of lyrics, like awesome I thought at the time, and this was called Nerves. And it was an entirely different song. And I remember listening to the track and listening to the lyrics, and the point of the lyrics came to a close, and I was like, the song isn't what the music deserved, so I completely got rid of all those lyrics and started from scratch, and thus came Siberia. So you just gotta, I mean, know in your gut, you gotta gut check all the time and make sure that that's the only way you know what you're doing.
Okay, so Siberia, that's your album title. Is there, besides the fact that it's a track on the record, is there a meaning behind why you decided to name your album that?
Yeah, there's a couple of reasons. I mean, aside from Siberia, the track actually being one of the songs, the first songs that helped determine direction for the sound. That was like one of the first songs that came together with Holy Fuck, and it was like, oh, this is a cool grit. I really like this in contrast with everything that I've been doing. and that process in itself felt like a Siberia to me. The process of, I mean, I knew I wanted to make the record a little heavier and a little darker, so that started out happening. But it was something I'd never heard before. You know, there were dubstep elements I was applying to it. There's Holy Fuck's Grit, and there was my pop melodies, and this is a lot of different genres coming together and forming this new sound. And so there were moments in the studio where it was just like, never heard this before, let's try this, wow, that worked, let's keep going, you know. It was like blindly walking through this like unknown territory, which felt like kind of like a Siberia to me, the whole process of making the record. So that's another one of the reasons.
Okay, so you released an acoustic EP a while back and did a little tour. Why did you decide to do that?
Well, acoustic has always been important, I think, especially as a songwriter. Well, it's my first instrument for starters, so I'm most comfortable on the acoustic. And a good song, in my opinion, should be able to be stripped away to nothing, just you and an acoustic, and if it still shines, that's how you know we've got a good song. So it shows another side of it. It lets the lyrics shine, lets the melodies shine without production. So it's like almost like two different songs when you play the same song. And I think it's important for people to see that side of it, especially if some people aren't into the more produced stuff. The acoustic stuff can appeal to them. So it was always something that I made sure I was able to do as acoustic versions, but then after having seen some response to the acoustic videos I was doing online, it seemed like fans were excited for an acoustic release. So I put out the EP last year and did a small tour, and that was like a pivotal tour for me because when you're doing a full band show, you have this certain separation from the audience. It's not bad, it's good. Where it becomes a performance, and you can fall back on the people on stage with you, or the sounds, or the energy, and it's not all on you. But when you're doing an acoustic show, it's like there is nothing between you and the crowd. It's like everything, every word is heard, and you can stop in the middle of it, and it's all on you, right? You have to be on every second. And I like that a lot, but both are very different. So it became a pivotal tour for me because it made me so much better at what I do, a better performer, more in touch with the music, a bit better at talking on stage, you know. It was amazing. So I like to balance it out, but yeah, it's important.
Okay, so you said before that you think it's hard for you said that you think it's hard for girls to get respect in the music business. Could you explain why you think that?
I don't think it's hard for girls to get respect in the industry.
Yeah.
I just think that there's far fewer girls.
Okay.
And it seems that in order for a woman to get a job at a venue, say, as front of house or back line or this and that, it seems like you're going to have to work harder to get in there, to prove yourself, because there's fewer girls, you know? It's unfortunate, but every time I see a girl working at a venue, or even girls in music, you know, I'm stoked. It makes me really happy, because, I mean, you can't deny the fact that there's far fewer girls than there are guys. But I see it changing. I see more girls coming into it. And it's funny because most of the time when you see a girl working at a venue, she's probably way better than all the guys there because she had to work her ass off to get there. But I respect girls. It's hard to walk into a world mostly men, unabashedly, unintimidated, and just do your thing. I think that's what it takes.
Okay, so I'm with Shameless Media, and so my last question is, what about you, Shameless?
What about me is shameless?
What are you not ashamed of?
I'm not ashamed of a lot, actually. I would say the most shameless part of me is probably, I'm not ashamed of anything. I was doing the things we love, whether it's video games or drawing or taking computer classes or binary, you gotta do what you love, shamelessly.
That's the best answer.